Day 1. New country, one suitcase. A Google Maps screenshot, a landlord's number not to be called after 8, and the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who has absolutely no idea what they just did. This is what it actually looks like to move abroad alone at 22. Not the highlight reel, not the sunset photos, the silence, the loneliness, the slow, unglamorous process of turning a foreign city into something that feels like home. This is that story. Nobody warns about the silence. Not the peaceful kind, the other kind. The kind that fills a room when the last box is unpacked, everything owned fits in 3 of them, and there is nothing left to do but sit with the fact that this is it now. A city full of millions of people, and not a single one of them knows this place exists yet. That feeling, that specific hollow feeling, is where this story starts. And it is where almost everyone who has ever done this has started too. Moving abroad alone at 22 means agreeing to become a beginner again. At everything. At navigating, at grocery shopping, at making friends as an adult, which is somehow one of the most quietly awkward things a human being can do. At understanding humor in a second language, which doesn't click until suddenly, one day, it does. And that day feels like a genuine personal victory. It means agreeing to feel out of place for longer than feels comfortable. And that part, that specific part, is the one nobody really talks about. The first week is usually fine, actually. Everything is new, which means everything is interesting. Getting lost feels like an adventure. The supermarket is fascinating. Phone calls home end with "I love it here," and it's true, but said slightly too fast, the way things get said when trying to make them true by saying them out loud. It's week 2 and 3 where the real thing starts. The novelty wears off, and what's underneath is just an actual life. One that now has to be built from scratch, in a place that doesn't know it's being built in yet. The last real conversation was with a cashier 2 days ago. Sunday afternoons, which used to mean people and noise and food, now mean a long walk and coming home to a quiet apartment. This is normal. It needs to be said clearly, this is completely normal. It doesn't mean the wrong choice was made. It means being in the middle of something that takes longer than a few weeks to build. Here's what actually helps. Not apps, not tourist guides. The small, specific things that quietly turn a foreign city into a familiar one. Walk without a destination. Not to see the sights, those can wait. Walk the streets nobody photographs. The residential ones, the market streets, the ones with the good bakery smell at 7 a.m. A city reveals itself slowly, and it reveals itself to the people willing to wander it. Go back to the same places. Find one cafe. Go back 3 times. By the 3rd time, the person behind the counter recognizes the order. That recognition, small as it is, matters more than expected. Familiarity is not a small thing. It is exactly the thing. Show up to the thing that almost didn't happen. There will be evenings where an invitation arrives and every instinct says to stay in. Go. Almost always, go. Connections don't happen in an apartment. They happen in the moments of showing up when it didn't feel possible. Learn something that forces being bad at things in public. A language class, a cooking class, anything with strangers and shared failure. There is something about being equally lost together that makes people stop being strangers faster than anything else. Find the local rhythm. Every city has one. A pace, a routine, a way people move through their days. The Saturday market, the Sunday park, the neighborhood that wakes up after 8 p.m. Step into that rhythm, not as a visitor, as someone who lives there now. The loneliness, and that is the right word for it, comes in waves. Some days feel completely fine. Some days end up sitting in a cafe for 2 hours, not because of the coffee, but because the apartment isn't ready to be faced yet. Both of those days are part of this, because the loneliness isn't really about being alone. It's about not being known yet. There's a whole history there, a personality, a humor, a way of existing, and none of the people nearby have access to it. That has to be earned, slowly, one conversation at a time. And that takes months, not weeks. Months is the right unit of measurement here. Somewhere around month 2 or 3, something shifts. It's not happiness exactly, it's something quieter. One morning, the right metro exit gets taken without checking the phone. There's a favorite street now. The market vendor who always rounds up instead of down, recognized now. Inside jokes with people, real ones, earned ones. The city starts to feel less like a place that was arrived in and more like a place that is lived in. That shift isn't dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It just shows up one day in the way the silence in the apartment doesn't feel heavy anymore. It feels like home. Moving to a new country alone at 22 is not one act of bravery. It's 1,000 small ones. Showing up to the thing when it didn't feel possible. Going back to the same cafe a 3rd time. Being nobody for a while. No history, no context, no reputation. And building something back up out of nothing but choices. The people who do this will almost always say it was the hardest thing they've done. They'll also say it changed them in ways that are hard to explain. Not because the country changed them, because of who they had to become to stay. The apartment starts to smell like something eventually. It takes time, but one day, coming home after a long day, it smells familiar. It smells like a life. And that's when it becomes clear. This wasn't just moving to a new country. This was building one.